Pulling the last of my strength away from me, my escape pod had plummeted from the orbiting ship, tearing apart as it broke through the atmosphere, and somehow I had survived, but survival was turning into torture. Each breath burned my chest, each step dragged me deeper into exhaustion, and a fever was climbing through my veins like fire. I knew I would not last much longer without help, but there was no help here, not on this alien world. Around me the jungle whispered with sounds too strange to place calls of beasts hidden high in the canopy shadows of wings beating above the light, filtering through thick clouds. Vines dripping with dew and moss the ground was slick with water, and strange insects crawled across my path, their bodies glowing faintly in the dim light. I swatted at them with no strength to spare. I was shaking, my vision blurred. I needed water. I needed medicine. But all I had was the emergency beacon strapped to my belt, and it was cracked, sparking with failing energy. I stumbled into a clearing and collapsed onto my knees, coughing hard. The world spun around me, sweat pouring from my brow. The fever was taking me hard. My body felt like it was aflame, my throat raw from breathing the heavy air. And then I heard a sound that made my blood freeze, a low hiss, not like the call of any creature I knew, but something deeper vibrating through the air, like it came not only through my ears, but straight into my bones. I turned slowly, and my heart nearly stopped. She was there, emerging from the mist, a towering shape, covered in scales that shimmered green and black. With every movement, her eyes glowing golden, her long tail swaying behind her with the weight of a predator, each step shaking the earth. Her claws flexed, and the sight of them should have sent me running. But my legs refused, my body too weak. I fell backward into mud, and could only watch as she crouched down in front of me. Her head tilted, her tongue flicking out, long fork glistening. As it tasted the air, she leaned closer, her golden eyes narrowing, as though reading me not just with sight, but with something deeper. I tried to push myself away, but my arms trembled and gave out. My chest, heaving, her scaled hand came forward, massive claws curling. But instead of striking, she pressed gently against my chest, holding me steady, her strength immense yet controlled. She lowered her head, and her tongue slid across my forehead to touch cold, what's shocking against the burning heat of my fever. I gasped, but she made a soft humming sound, low, deep, vibrating through her throat and into my mind. And the words formed without sound: fever rising, you are weak, but not broken. I will heal you. And though I should have been terrified, the voice inside my head carried not threat, but certainty. I could not move as her tongue traced lightly along my temple and down my neck, the sensation strange, alien, yet cooling, drawing away the fire in my skin. She pulled back, her golden eyes glowing brighter. She hissed again into my thoughts, fever strong, need to watch. And in one motion, she scooped me into her arms, lifting me, as if I weighed nothing, her scales cool against my burning skin. The jungle blurred as she carried me, leaping across roots, streams, fallen logs, her tail whipping for balance. Every stride effortless, her claws digging into the earth, as though the world bent to her command. I drifted in and out of consciousness, the fever pulling me under, but her presence steady, carried me through storm, until she brought me into a cavern of stone lit with glowing moss vines hanging like curtains, water dripping into pools that steamed with faint heat. She laid me down upon a bed of woven leaves, her claws surprisingly gentle, her breath slow, steady. She crouched close, watching me with unblinking eyes, her tongue flicking again against my brow, my chest, my throat, each stroke, deliberate, measuring, checking, confirming. She hummed low again, the sound rumbling like a lullaby in my head, and she pressed cool herbs mixed in water onto my skin, the paste burning, then soothing, her hands precise, her instincts unerring. Time stretched fever dreams, twisting my thoughts, but always I felt her presence, her scales brushing against me, her claws applying herbs, her tail curling around the stone bed, forming a barrier against unseen predators, and always her tongue sliding against my skin, checking my heat each time, followed by the hum of reassurance. And the echo in my mind: you will survive, I will heal you, you belong to my care now. I drifted into restless sleep, her massive silhouette crouched above me, her golden eyes glowing like twin suns in the dark, her tongue flicking across my brow once more, before she settled back, claws resting near my chest, as if to guard me from even the air around us. When I woke again, the fever had not left me entirely, but the fire had dulled embers, my body no longer thrashing with heat, my breaths easier. Though still ragged, the cavern was quiet, except for the steady dripping of water, the faint rustle of leaves shifting under unseen currents, and the soft rumble of her breathing. She was still there, crouched only a few feet away, her golden eyes unblinking fixed on me, as though she had not moved for hours, maybe days. Her scales shimmered in the dim moss light, green, black, a subtle ripple of color. Every time her chest rose, and fell, her claws flexed lazily, as she noticed me stir, and then she leaned closer, her forked tongue slipping out, brushing across my temple, again the cool, wet touch making me shiver, but also grounding me. She hissed softly, and the echo in my head followed body, cooling, fever fading, but strength still weak, you remain under my care. I tried to speak, but my throat cracked the words barely more than a rasp. Who are you? But she tilted her head, tongue flicking again, and she touched the claw gently against my lips. Silence. Conserve your air, human. You are not healed enough for wasted words. I swallowed hard, my mind caught between fear and gratitude. She was massive, every movement, carrying the weight of a predator, yet each touch was precise, controlled, even tender. Her golden eyes locked on mine, as if daring me to look away. But I could not. Something in them held me firm, not cruelty, not hunger, but a fierce protective certainty. She reached behind her, gathering a cluster of leaves filled with a thick, glowing sap. She pressed a mixture against my chest, the sting sharp, then cool, spreading across my burning skin, her claws, gentle yet unyielding. And once more her tongue brushed along my throat, lingering. For a long moment she hissed softly again, fever rising slightly, body resisting. You must drink. She took a carved stone bowl, dipped into a steaming pool at the cavern's center, then dropped more herbs into the water, hissed, releasing a strange bitter scent. She held the bowl to my lips, claws steady, urging me to drink. I hesitated, but the golden fire of her gaze left no room for refusal. I drank the liquid, thick, sharp, burning down my throat, before leaving a cool trail in its wake. The world swam again, dizziness overtaking me, the herbs pulling me back into uneasy dreams. In those dreams I saw flashes of her life. Or perhaps my fevered mind was weaving them from nothing. I saw her striding through swamps, tail lashing, striking down beasts with claws that cut through armor scales shimmering with rain, as she dragged prey back to hidden dens, her tongue flicking, constantly tasting the air for sickness or danger, and always the same certainty. She healed, guarded, claimed. When I woke once more, she was crouched near me again, but this time her claws were not working with herbs. She was sitting still, tail coiled around her body, eyes half closed, as if in meditation. Yet the moment I shifted, her golden gaze snapped open, sharp, clear tongue flicking. To taste the air around me, she hissed again, and the words entered my head, fever, less strength returning. I tried again, my voice steadier this time. What are you? And she leaned forward, pressing claw against my chest. Once more her gaze unwavering. I am of the scaled. I heal the tribe, I guard the sick, the wounded, the lost. You are lost. I found you, you are mine now to guard and heal. Her words struck deep, mine to guard, mine to heal, mine. Now it was not spoken with cruelty or ownership, but with an unshakable finality, a law as solid as stone. She had claimed me, and no force could undo it. She leaned closer again, her tongue sliding across my brow and down to my cheek, the sensation strange, unnerving, but also cool, soothing. And each flick brought that low hum in her chest that seemed to settle directly into my bones, reassurance laced with authority, her eyes narrowing. As she tasted the heat of my skin again, she hissed softly, fever almost gone, strength returning soon. I sat up slowly, leaning against the cavern wall, my head still light, but my body stronger than before. She watched me closely, her tail flicking, her claws flexing at the slightest stumble, ready to catch me. If I felt her attention total, complete, I could feel the weight of her gaze like armor around me. Outside, the cavern roar echoed to the jungle, something massive prowling through the trees. Her head snapped toward the sound, tongue flicking rapidly, tasting the air, her tail stiff, claws extending the rumble in her chest, rising, protective, dangerous. She turned her gaze back to me, golden fire burning. Stay, she hissed. Inside my mind, her words sharp with command, do not move. In an instant she was gone, her massive body slipping into the shadows of the cavern mouth, silent as the air itself, though her form was too large to be hidden completely, her scales rippling. As she vanished beyond my sight, the jungle fell silent for a breath, then erupted with the sound of a beast shrieking, claws tearing, scales slamming against flesh, the roar of combat echoing through the forest. I tried to rise, my heart hammering, but my body still weak. The thought of her fighting out there alone against whatever nightmare stalked these trees sent panic through me. Yet before I could stumble forward, she returned, dragging the carcass of some massive creature with a long neck and talons like blades, her claws dripping with its blood, her chest heaving, her eyes glowing brighter than ever. She dropped the body at the cavern's entrance, her tail lashing the ground with finality. Her tongue flicked, tasting the air around me before she hissed, low again, danger gone, you are safe. Then she crouched next to me, once more, claws brushing my chest as a confirming my survival, her presence overwhelming, fierce, protective, and unyielding. And again her tongue slid across my temples, slow, deliberate, tasting the heat of my flesh, her golden eyes narrowing as a thought echoed through me, fever nearly broken. But I will keep watching, I will always keep watching. The cavern no longer felt like a prison, it felt like a sanctuary guarded by a creature who was both beast and healer, both terrifying and strangely comforting. My fever had weakened me to the point where my body did not trust itself, but her constant presence, her constant touch had kept me tethered to life. She checked me again, and again, tongue sliding across my temple, my neck, my chest, as if my body was a puzzle she alone could read. Every time her tongue brushed against my skin, I felt the hum inside her chest, a vibration like thunder echoing into me, the words following in my mind: fever, fading strength, rising, soon you will stand, but you remain under my care. I sat against the cavern wall staring at her as she crouched, sharpening her claws against stone, her golden eyes reflecting the glow of the moss. I dared to speak, my voice steadier now than before. Why are you doing this? Why save me? I am not of your kind. And she turned slowly, her head tilted, her scales shimmering, her tongue flicking. She hissed into my mind, healing. Is my path guarding? Is my law you fell into my swamp sick weak? Alone you are mine until the fever is gone, mine until your strength returns. And if danger comes, I will fight until the danger breaks. There was no question in her tone, no space for doubt. She had chosen this role, and I had no power to resist it, nor did I want. A little part of me feared what it meant to belong to her. In this way, another part found safety in it. She reached forward, claws brushing my shoulder, her strength immense, though she used only the gentlest pressure. Her tongue flicked along my cheek again, and she hissed softly, your heat is lower, your strength will return. Soon you must eat. She dragged the carcass of the beast she had slain earlier further into the cavern, her claws slicing to the hide with ease. She carved out strips of flesh, laying them on a hot stone near the steam vents until the meat hissed and cooked, filling the cavern with heavy scent. She handed me the first piece, watching with unblinking golden eyes as I forced myself to chew the taste strange tough, but my starving body accepted it. She hissed softly again, approving. You take strength from the hunt, though with my claws that made it fall, its flesh is now yours, its power in you. I chewed slowly, meeting her gaze. She was larger than any predator I had ever seen, yet she seemed more like a wall against the world than a threat to me. Her scales shimmered with every movement, her tail lashed slowly as she studied me, and once again her tongue flicked, touching my temple, tasting my skin, as if to confirm the food was working. As the hours passed, she remained always near, always vigilant, her tongue sliding against me again and again, each time her hum following her words in my mind, body, steady heat, low strength, rising. She was measuring me, constantly watching me, as though I was a fragile flame she refused to let die. The jungle outside grew louder, roars, shrieks, the cry of unseen predators. She always turned her head, tongue flicking, tasting the air, her claws flexing. But she did not leave my side, not again, not until she was sure I could stand and walk. She crouched closer, her voice echoing inside me, soon you will rise, soon you will walk, and when you do, you must stay near. I do not release what I claim. Her words rattled me with a strange mixture of fear and comfort. I was not free, but I was not abandoned either. She had saved me, claimed me, and every time her tongue brushed across my fevered skin, I felt the truth of her vow. She was bound to me as much as I was bound to her. When at last I stood leaning heavily against the cavern wall, her golden eyes followed my every move, her tail lashing, once her claws flexing ready to catch me. If I stumbled, I took 2 steps forward before my legs faltered, and instantly she was there, her arms scooping me up, her scales cool against my skin, her hum vibrating through me. She hissed softly again, not ready, not yet. She placed me back upon a bed of woven leaves and brushed her tongue across my throat again, tasting, confirming, before pulling back her gaze fierce, unwavering. You will not fall. I will not allow it. I looked up at her, towering over me, her scales shining, her golden eyes bright, and I realized then that whatever I had once been out there on my ship in my world, it no longer mattered. I had entered hers, and she had wrapped me into it, her claws, her tail, her scales, her tongue, her unbreakable vow. The cavern had become a second skin to me, its dripping walls, and she had no intention of letting me go. Its warm pools of water and the bed of woven leaves she had built for me. I could almost pretend it was safe, a place untouched by the violence outside. But the world never stayed quiet for long. The jungle beyond seethed with life and danger, and she never let me forget that. Each time I stirred, she was there, her golden eyes burning through the dark, her forked tongue brushing my skin, checking the warmth that still lingered, though the fever was nearly gone. Each touch a reassurance, and a reminder I was hers to guard, hers to heal, hers to watch over. You will walk soon, her voice hissed inside my mind, tail coiled behind her claws flexing. As she crouched near, you will walk and fight. You'll be strong enough to stand, but not alone, never alone. I forced myself each day to rise, to move, my muscles heavy, still weak. But growing under her constant watch, she tested me, forcing me to stand, claw at my chest. If I faltered, her tail curling behind to catch me. When I felt her tongue flicking across my brow, check a fire. Within me, each failure, followed by her low hum and the words in my mind, not enough, try again, strength comes with pain. She did not allow laziness. She demanded I push against the limits of my body, and slowly the strength returned. Each meal of cooked meat, each sip of bitter herb drink, each step taken under her burning gaze gave me more life, until one day I found myself walking to the cavern's edge without collapsing. The jungle outside was alive with the sounds of beastly air heavy with the scent of rain. She crouched beside me, tail twitching, tongue flicking across my cheek. Once more, and her voice hissed into me strong enough to move outside. But danger waits, you will not stray, you will remain with me. I followed her into swamped ground, wet sucking at my boots, the air, thick her massive body moving with silent grace claws, slicing vines, tail balancing her stride. She hunted with precision, tearing through the undergrowth with ease, every motion protective calculated, her golden eyes scanning, always her tongue flicking, constantly tasting the unseen threats around us. A roar split the air, and she froze, her tail stiff claws, flexed tongue flicking faster. She hissed low danger, close stare command, snapped into my skull, unyielding. She leapt forward and vanished into the trees, the sound of her clash with some predator, echoing through the jungle, her growl, rolling like thunder, her claws, slashing stone, her tail, cracking branches. I stumbled forward, drawn by fear not for myself, but for her. Though I could barely see through the thick swamp air, her massive silhouette moved like a storm, claws, flashing scales rippling, as she tore into a beast twice her size, its hide, thick its talons sharp, yet she cut it down blow after blow, until it collapsed bleeding into the mud. She stood over it, chest heaving, blood dripping from her claws, her golden eyes glowing brighter than fire. She turned to me, and in 3 strides was before me, her tongue sliding against my temple, checking my heat. Before I could speak, she hissed fiercely into my mind, danger's mine. Not yours, you will not chase, you will not bleed. Her claws brushed my chest, firm, insistent, not painful, but commanding, and her eyes bore into mine, golden, fierce, unbreakable. Her tongue flicked again across my cheek, lingering, at my jaw, tasting, confirming. Before she hummed low and pressed closer, I guard you, because you are mine, and no beast, no claw, no fire will take you. In that moment, the truth of her words weighed on me. She was not simply healer, not only protector. She was a wall against a storm, and she had wrapped her claim around me like chains I could not break, but chains that also kept me alive. Days blurred into nights, the fever long gone, my strength returned, yet still she checked me again. And again, her tongue sliding across my brow, my throat, my chest, tasting, measuring her hum, always following her voice. Inside me heat, steady breath, strong, strengthful, you are healed, but still mine. I began to wonder what it meant, healed, but still hers. Did it mean she would release me when she was satisfied? Or had she meant her vow in the deepest sense that I belonged to her beyond sickness, beyond healing, forever? One night, as the rain hammered the swamp, she crouched close, her golden eyes glowing, her tail curled around me, claws resting lightly across my chest, her tongue brushed along my throat, slower than usual, lingering, tasting every inch of my skin, her hum deeper, vibrating through me, until her words followed soft. But sharp, you are strong now, no fever left, no weakness left, but you remain mine. The words burned inside me, not cruel, but final, not threat. But oh, she leaned closer, her breath hot against my face, her tongue sliding once more across my cheek, tasting the heat that had left me completely, her eyes narrowing, as though deciding something unspoken. And then the jungle shook with a roar greater than before, a sound that made the cavern tremble. Her head snapped up, tongue flicking violently, her claws digging into the stone walls. She turned to me, golden eyes blazing, and hissed into my skull louder than ever, "This is no beast, this is war." The roar that shook the cavern was not like the beast she had fought before. It was deeper, wider, older, carried weight like the sky itself, had torn open her head, whipped toward the sound, tongue flicking violently, her golden eyes, narrowing claws, gouging the stone wall, sparks flying from her strength. She hissed inside, my skull war tribe, threat greater than one. I must fight, you must stay. But something in me rebelled. I had grown under her care, my fever broken, my strength returned, her constant tongue checking me, her constant soothing me. But I was no longer helpless, no longer barely alive. I rose to my feet, my legs steady, my chest strong. And I shook my head. No, I will not hide while you fight. I am not weak anymore. Her golden eyes flared bright fire, her tail lashed snapping stone. She crouched low, growling, her voice slamming into me, "You are mine. I guard. I heal. You do not go, you do not bleed." She pressed her claws to my chest, firm, unyielding, and her tongue slid across my temple again, as if checking the heat, as if trying to prove to herself I was still fragile. But I pushed her claws away for the first time, her eyes widened, the fire of surprise flashing through them. I stepped past her toward the cavern mouth, the roar echoing again, shaking the ground. She growled, low tail, whipping hard, cracking stone. Yet she did not strike me, her eyes burned, but her claws did not close. I turned back to her and said firmly, "I am not your patient anymore. If you go, I go." For a long moment she crouched, frozen, golden fire locked on me, her tongue flicking, as if tasting the truth in my words. Then slowly she rose her full height, towering over me, scales shimmering, her claws flexing. She hissed, "Not weak, not patient, but mine, still mine, together we fight." The swamp beyond was alive with terror trees, shaking the ground, quaking something massive, moving through the jungle, a beast larger than any she had slain. Before its scales glistened red-black, its eyes burned like suns, its tail smashing trees into splinters, her tongue flicked violently, tasting the air, her claws gleaming. She crouched low, ready, her voice hissed. Into me one thought sharp, clear, stay near, fight with me. The beast lunged a mountain of muscle and rage, and she was already moving her claws, flashing, her tail lashing. She struck its throat, biting into its flesh-tearing scale from bone. But the beast slammed her aside into the mud, her body rolling. She rose again, instantly, golden eyes blazing, her tongue flicking, as she roared and leapt again. I grabbed a broken spear from the wreck of her last kill, its edge jagged, its shaft cracked. But it was all I had. I charged forward, adrenaline burning through me. I slammed the spear into the beast's flank. It roared, twisting, thrashing, nearly crushing me. But she was there, her claws slicing into its eyes, her tail wrapping its neck, pulling it down, her scales shining with blood. The fight raged, claws slamming, flesh ripping, my body bruised, bloody, but I stood beside her, striking again, and again the beast howled in fury, thrashing, tearing the swamp apart, until at last she drove both claws into its throat, tearing it wide, its blood spilling into mud, its body collapsing with an earth-shaking crash. Silence, followed, broken only by our ragged breaths. I stumbled, collapsing into mud, my chest heaving. She crouched beside me instantly, her tongue flicking across my temple, my cheek, my throat, tasting every inch of my skin, her golden eyes narrow in her hum deep, resonant, you are hot, but not fever hot, not sick, only battle heat. She pressed her claws against my chest, steadying me, her tail curling around my body, as if to shield me from even the corpse of the beast. Her tongue brushed across my brow, once more slower, deliberate, lingering, and she hissed into my mind, you fought, you bled, you stood not weak, not patient, but still mine. I looked up at her, towering over me, scales dripping blood, eyes glowing fire, and I felt the truth of her vow. She had saved me, claimed me, healed me, fought beside me, and now no chain, no wall, no command could break what we had become together. She lifted me into her arms, carrying me back into the cavern, her claws gentle, though still stained with blood. She laid me onto the bed of leaves, her tail curling around us, her tongue brushing my skin again, and again checking, soothing, humming, the deep vibration of her voice echoing through me. She hissed softly, forever mine, to guard forever mine, to heal not fever, not weakness, not war will take you from me. I closed my eyes, exhaustion pulling me under her presence, a wall of strength around me, her golden eyes burning, her scales cool against my skin, her tongue brushing my temple once more as the hum of her vow filled me, and for the first time since I had fallen from the sky, I believed her completely.